So we made our level, which is a simple one. So what's next? Well, the gameplay. Let's open up our map first. Now the gameplay. How would we create events such as monsters appearing, weapons, and so on? How do we script it? If, for example, we looked at Crow Team's levels, example, this one. I will say this, at the start, the scripting is quite scary. Although, I learned during my days of first time scripting that you can actually be very simple and basic with your scripts and yet achieve plenty of events. Because this engine actually tells you what you need to put in. I will show you a first example of the scripts of how Crow Team did it. Here we are. Control F, script, and script. There we go. Suppose let's open up a fight, first yard A, open it up. See, it looks quite complicated, but in the end it's pretty simple. So how do we achieve that? Well, we don't need that anymore because we'll be doing my method. So first off, we need the player to spawn in, like a spawn point. Let's suppose we want to put him here. So how do we do that? If we go to entity list, we can close this. Entity list, logic, chapter info. Chapter info relies on the checkpoints and spawn points, so where the player will spawn, when the autosave will happen, and if player dies, he'll appear at this chapter info. Let's put him in here. Numpad 9. The arrow represents where the player will be looking at when he spawns, so I want him to be looking around here. Or if you want to be precise with your rotation, you can hold control, move your mouse over the green one, right click, and like that, 90 degrees. There we go. Now, it's there. Will the player spawn in? No, not yet. First off, go to entity. Let's say, to be precise, we're gonna name it spawn point. Now, during gameplay creation, names are important so to keep you organized. Alright, we can be, but I like to name it as start. So now we need to open up a world info. How do we do that? World info is the main functions for gameplay. Control F, world info. Press enter. First chapter over here. If we hook it up by pressing with this one, pick target from world. First chapter. I'm gonna save it just in case. Press T now, not Shift T, but T this time. And there we go. Alright. Now we don't have any weapons. Okay, so let's add a starting weapon. Added weapons right here. Weapons. Press plus here. Plus here. 0. Browse. And to look for weapons, we go to content, series sound 4, databases, weapons, and we can choose whatever weapon we need. I'm gonna choose pistol weapon. Control S to save just in case. Press T. And there we go. Alright, so we got our spawn point. Now, how do we create events? Alright, so let's suppose we're gonna add another weapon here to pick up for the pairs of pickup. Yeah, as a pickup, go here. This folder is unnamed, but just to let you know, this folder contains the most useful item is generic item. You drag and drop it here. Go to entity, item parameters here. Now don't be scared by all those functions here. We don't need them. We only need item parameters. Click here, browse, content, here's some for databases. This time not weapons, but items. Over here, items, weapons, generic weapons. And let's suppose an assault rifle. There we are. So again, if you're looking for items, whenever you add a generic item, you'll mostly be looking for, by default, items, ammo, armor, health, and weapons, power-ups if this is what you want, but we won't be doing that. Weapons, generic, and assault rifle. As you see here, you'll get a bunch of errors. They're not important. It's something that maybe Crow Team screwed up or I screwed up, but it will work nonetheless. So middle mouse to collapse all of it. Alright, so we want an event happen when player picks this up. So what do? Well, we need a script for it. Logic again, script. Drag and drop it here, go to entity, give it a name. What I like to do to keep myself organized is I keep area 1 event script, and to keep us organized, area 1 weapon pickup, and that's it. Now keep in mind the names are important to keep you organized, because if we double click on the script here, we got a blank page. Now don't be scared, because this engine actually writes the scripts for you most of the time. Alright, so we got a weapon here. I'm gonna provide a note file so you can know what kind of events you put in. But if you want an event that waits forever till the condition is met, you put this, wait, event, and that's it. Now click on your assault rifle, press Ctrl, Shift, Alt, and keep holding them. Then left mouse button, hold it and drag it on to here. See what it did? That's the name you put in, so you need to be organized so you know what you're actually scripting. Well, you can put any name you want, but for the sake of the tutorial, I'm gonna keep us organized. Press the dot, and there's actually, there we go. Now, so say the editor put this for you, so what we need is picked, and to close this like that, press enter. I'm gonna save just in case. Now we can create a function over here, another function, but what this does now is it waits forever till this weapon is picked. So what's the next function? The next one we want is probably to add some monsters. Now, how do we do that? Simple. Go to entity list, characters, choose like character, give it a name. Let's suppose let's put a kamikaze in. Now, it's just a box, it's not a monster. Well, simple. In puppet parameters, go browse, content, series 4, databases, and look for puppets. There it is. Enemies, beheaded kamikaze. There we go. Alright, so what's next is a behavior. We got our kamikaze, he will stay there, but he won't be doing anything. It needs a behavior. So we do the same thing. Alright, so you go to content, series 4, databases, behaviors, enemies, and beheaded kamikaze. Now when he will see the player, he will charge at him. But the problem is he will be still there. We need it to spawn in. So how do we do that? Right here it says spawner. Click plus sign here. Open it up. The total number is how many enemies are there in the spawner entity. So let's suppose we give it 6. Number of group is how many will appear. So let's give it 3. And add some delay. So what this will do is 1 second passes, 1 spawns, 1 second passes, second one spawns, 1 second passes, third one spawns. For fun, what else we can do? In spawn formation, this way they won't spawn in the same place. With spawn formation, they will spawn here, 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 instead of just here. You can modify it if you like. What I like to do is just put it like this. Alright, so I'm gonna put it here. If we go to script, we're gonna Control Shift Alt, put it here. Now, why do we type in to make it spawn? Well, since it's a bunch, an entity with groups of enemies, we need this. Go down. There we go. There's a bunch of functions to spawn them. Spawn simple now, spawn simple, spawn 1, spawn maintain group. This is what we need since it's an entity with a spawner. And to close this, like that. And that's pretty much it. Let's try it. Press T. There we go. See? That was simple. You made a gameplay and an event. Now let's get more interesting. We can add a scripted model, for example. So to add a scripted model, go to geometry and choose static model. Drag and drop it in here. Okay. Browse, and let's look for a platform. A castle. Alright. Let's suppose that this is what we want to appear when we kill all of the kamikazes. And we want it to appear here, like so. So we go back to our script and add final event. Wait all events. Double click on this, Control C to copy it. Actually no, don't put all. All is when you have group of entities. For example, if we had 2 kamikaze spawners, then we'd have to put all. But for the time, since it's a one spawner, we choose all killed. So what this does, wait event is this one, area 1 kamikaze, all killed, which is when all of these get killed, can create an event here. Now to keep this organized, we got the static model. We go to entity first, because it's not ready yet. See that? Control from script. We need to change this to game scripting. Choose that. Area 1 and model to keep this organized. So first off, we don't want it to appear just yet, so we press enter here, go here, choose that, Control Shift Alt, drag and drop it here. And we can choose what kind of functions we need. When you press, then you will put in those 2 dots. We're going to choose Find Model. Finish this up. Go here. Copy this. And appear. Finish. And that's it. Now, let's try it. It appeared. Alright, so it appeared, which is the script's working fine. Now, what can we do within this one? Let's suppose we want to spawn in a health. So how do we do that? We put this in the same weapon, but we're gonna change it to a health item. We click browse, go back, health, let's put this one. Like so. And make sure it's a spawner. Press plus here. Okay, so then all of them are killed. Press enter. Control Shift Alt. Drag and drop it here. Spawn. 1. How do I know what I wrote? Press 2 dots. Go down till you see S. Spawn 1. There we go. Like so. In any case, you can do this pretty much for anything. For example, if we did this again, Control Shift Alt, 2 dots, you see list of functions over here that you can write. It's pretty much done for you. But what I'm gonna do next is to create an event so that this one moves. And how do we do that? Well, first off, we want an animated mover. So tools, animated mover. Add it in. This will work for anything that you want to move. So first off, how's it called? End model. What I like to do, area 1, end model, mover. It's important to keep yourself organized so you know what you're working with. Parent over here, we need to parent it, so you parent model to mover, and when you move the mover, like so. Okay, so what's next? We open up a mover. We're gonna create, we are put in animation editor, and we're gonna create an animation. So we click here, actions, create new anim set, keep this like that, action, create animation, and name it move. Here, this is the last function, so you know, so the editor knows what you're moving. Okay, so now, how do we make an animation? Simple. Press enter, like so. Choose 15 and move it up a bit. Press enter again to bake in the animation, like so. And if we see what it does is it moves up, and then we kind of wanted to put it down, like so. If we press play, this will play. So in animation tab over here, you can adjust the speed of the animation. So I like to put 2, for example. And if we resize this a bit, we'll see. You can see the seconds. So let's put 1. Okay. So within the script, again, double click. We want this to move, so wait event again, so it waits forever till this event happens. Press dot, 1 picked, finish this up, and we're gonna specify the animation to play with this mover. Control Shift Alt. I'll look for animation to play. Play anim. Now, to specify we need to specify which animation to play, because if you hover our mouse, it says identify ID animation name. What does that mean? Simple. Shift, put it like this, hit like this, and we need to know what kind of animation we're dealing with. So it just says move. World editor again, put the move. So close it. Let's try this again. It works. So you created a simple event. So for example now, what if we wanted to make a checkpoint? A checkpoint is pretty simple. So within the start, we're gonna copy this over. We're gonna put this in. Go to entity. Now you need to do some logic here. Remember, at the start we pick up this weapon, so our checkpoint needs another weapon. So we're just gonna click clone element, browse, look for assault rifle weapon, and we're gonna say checkpoint 1, like so. Now in the event here, our script, all killed, we want to start the checkpoint. Or wherever you want it to be. It doesn't matter really. Let me like so. Start. And close it up like this. You can put this anywhere you want. It will work regardless. Or you put anything what you want. It should work. Alright. So we got a checkpoint here. We need music. There's two ways to create music. Either from a sound entity or within the world info. The simplest one would be world info. So how do we do that? We Control F, world info again. Click entity. I put this to the maximum value. So for example, if your lights don't shine anymore on your map, even if they envelop the whole world, or if you're having trouble with entities functioning properly, you need to put this to the maximum value, like this. That's pretty much it. If you're having errors with your world, you need to put this to the maximum size. Alright, so next is fight music. We need to go server sound 4, music, and there we are. F3 to preview the exploration music. Peace. There we go. This is pretty much done. Music didn't play the fight one. Why is that? Well, because there's not enough enemies. And how do we change that? Simply numbering group 16, 32. Let's see if it plays now. There we are. When there's enough enemies, the fight music will play. So again, world info. The peace music will be exploration. The fight music will be fight. Now for example, what if you wanted to change the music when certain event is met? This is pretty much simple as well. I have a notepad here. I'm just gonna copy this. I'm gonna provide the same notepad but with more stuff to copy from. First off, I'm just gonna copy this and tutorial fight music. You can put anything you want here to keep this organized. Now, how are we gonna specify what kind of music we want to play? Simple. See where it says implementation? Click on the plus sign here. Choose resource and then browse. And you can browse for music. Like so. Control S. But first off, when we're taken for a ride here that we just made, let's suppose we want to spawn in another group of enemies. We're just gonna copy this kamikaze here. Area 1 end. Yeah, let's, for the sake of this tutorial, I'm gonna change the enemy type. We're going to browse, and we can look for what we want. Let's see, maybe processed will be good enough. Processed common. Processed common. Control S. We need to change this. And since now we're gonna be working with multiple entities, we'll have to change our script a bit. Don't worry, it's nothing scary. So, easiest way now to select all of these without manually doing so, if you go to select and choose clones by name, it will select anything that's with the same name. This is why we keep organized, because this way we can easily select the entities. Now let's add a delay between this event. Wait, delay 5 seconds, the music will cue, and now Control Shift Alt while all of these are selected. See that? It puts S at the end, so it knows that there's multiple entities right there. Put 2 dots, and we're gonna spawn minting group, like so. To finish this off, wait, all events, process commons, all killed. Put these 3, because if you put 2, it may not work. And there's an error over here, not the line 14, line 13. So we put this one, compile without errors. When you're working with multiple entities, you need this. So they're all killed with these 3. And all specifies when there's multiple entities. As if you click on here, the container will show all of those entities. Now, let's add an effect. Let's suppose we wanted a particle effect to play when we kill all of them. So, how do we do that? We go to Effects, right here, choose Particle Effect, drag and drop it in here. It's numpad 9, oh, it's already in there. Actually, no, for the first time, you might just get this box, so you immediately need to choose the particle effect so the box appears. Let's suppose you can add a portal. Now, how do we know that this is what we need? If you press play here, kinda get this effect. We need to change this to scripts. Area 1 end portal effect. We can stretch this. Alright, so we got everything we needed, and we want this effect to appear. Actually, may look for more portal effects. Maybe there's more interesting ones. No. This one's more interesting. Yeah, well, this one's more interesting. Okay, auto start off. We don't want it to start immediately. So when all of them are killed, Control Shift Alt, portal effect, start. Finish this. Now, when we kill all of them, the portal will start. And actually, let's see if it works. As you see, there was an icon saying that the game has saved. Another thing is, when you're testing, there's one command I like to use. If you open up a console, while in the game pressing the console button and typing this in, this will enable developer cheats. Now if you close this, press F10, cheats, let's add God mode and give all. Let's perhaps change the music. As you see here, the portal appeared. There we are. We created a simple event. Control S to save it. Actually, what can you type? Well, I will provide you a note file on what you can type and how you can achieve events. Now, to make this more interesting again, we can add a detector. What is a detector? Detector is a script starter, I'd like to call it. And what it does is when somebody passes through, the event will play. Now we need our particle effect, because, for example, we're gonna position this so when the player reaches this particle, he will trigger this detector. Area 1 and detector. You can either choose whether it be all characters, so everybody could trigger it, only players and NPCs, so like AI, bots, and so on. But for this tutorial, we're gonna need only players. Now I'm just gonna make sure it's stopped. Although we're gonna need to do some logic here, because player, by default, he will activate this immediately, while there's a script that is not ready yet. So wait up event activated. So for example, on the 1, player will pick up the gun and will trigger the detector, while this one is already waiting for it to be triggered. So how do we fix that? We press enter here, click in here, Control Shift Alt, and we're gonna look for recharge. Deactivate. There we go, R, recharge. So when we kill all of the processed, it will start the portal effect. It will recharge, so it means it's awaiting for a detection, and when this is gonna be detected and activated, we can start an event. So then, let's suppose we want to teleport the player. So to teleport, simply I'm gonna look for SS1 entities. Teleport, drag and drop in here, entity. Since it's not very an advanced entity, we need to do something crazy like this. Although we can actually put it up so we don't want this to teleport immediately. And another thing is, when this teleported, we want to start a checkpoint. We're just gonna put our second checkpoint here. Name it checkpoint 2. Click here, target, choose this one. And why is it up? Why is it not in the detector? Well, because by default, it's always active. And I don't think you can activate it whenever you want. As you see here, there's no set active, and so on. It doesn't have that for some reason. It's a null entity, so it's understandable. So how do we achieve this? Well, we need to give it sort of like an illusion, such as that it's activated. So first off, we need a mover. Again, mover could also work for detectors, anything that wants to be moved. So we put animated mover around here, area 1, and teleport mover, like so. We're gonna select this, parent it to our mover. Activate, which we're gonna call it, like so. Gonna move, actually no, let's put it like this. Yep. So, what's next? We don't need that. Wait event and detect activated. Play anim activate. Just to be sure, we need to check the name. Activate. Alright, let's test it out. Well, first off, let's add some ammo for the player and perhaps a nastier gun. So don't worry, you can change anything once you have it prepared in the script. Let's give it a minigun. Copy this. Area 1 ammo pickup. Like this. Control C. Let's copy it like that. Alright, let's save and start world. There we are. That's it. That was so simple. We got teleported. Alright, so the next thing in the gameplay is not script. I will provide you, and again, I'm saying this again, I will provide you a note file. Within the note file, you'll be able to put any sort of events that are linear, not random. So now what's next is we want to create boundaries so the player can go to someplace. Actually no, not the boundaries, but the enemies need a tactic actually. Let's see the navigation. Yep. By default you saw that the enemies wandered around. So if you want them to immediately charge the player, you need a tactic. Now that we do that, go to characters, tactic, like so, and then a path marker so they know where to go. Tactic marker will specify which marker they need to go to. So for in our case it's this one. Character mover, it's important. Towards foe, what I like to do is order moving using markers. And stop tactic when has a foe. We need to check that so when they see the enemy, in that case the player, they will dismiss their tactic, and instead of going here, they will go right at the player. So, phones by name, which is this one too as well. Tactic, like this. Now they will go to this location instead of wandering around. Now let's test it. See? This time, instead of wandering around, he went for the path marker. Save it. Okay, so what else can we do? Well, boundaries. We don't want the player to be able to navigate this whole terrain. We kinda want to put invisible walls so the player knows that he can't go there. So we go to Tools, Barrier Field, like this. And double click on it. This time it brings you the mesh editor. We choose polygon first here, so we don't want to work with vertices. We choose create, box, and just move your mouse, drag your mouse like so. Double click on it, Control Shift. Copy it again within the mesh editor, like that. Now in the mesh here, we need to enable collision mesh, because by default it's unticked. Don't worry, the player won't be able to see these. We can test it out even. See that? I can't go through. This is pretty simple. Now, if you wanted to disable the invisible wall, you could put Control Shift Alt and just disable, like so. That's it. That's pretty much it. Now, let's suppose we wanted to add a boss to our level. How do we do that? Well, we're gonna create a new script, since this is a new area. And I'm kinda getting the ideas. Okay, so let's suppose this area will be the boss area. First off, we're gonna create some ammo for the player. And when he goes down this hill, the boss will appear here in the middle. And how do we do that? Well, it's pretty simple actually. I just need to come up with something. Detector area, okay. Control Shift, then use your mouse to scale it up a bit. Actually, no, not like that. So, like so. Let's just give it boss, Detector. And script, yes, script. Logic, script, put it in there. And I'm just gonna name it boss script. Okay, double click on it. We'll open a blank page again. This time we just could put event boss detector activated. And here I have a script. Again, I will provide you all the necessaries in the node file. You copy it. And we're gonna need to put a different character this time. And this time, It's gonna be no entity puppet parameters. Look for GNOME behavior as well. GNOME, and if you can't find it, it's located here: databases, behaviors, enemies, or puppets, enemies. We gotta make sure it's a spawner. When this event is activated, first off, if it's a leg character, for example, our case is it's GNOME puppet properties, not legged character puppet. So in our case, it's gonna be different. You just need to put GNOME boss, boss, boss. Copy it. Change this to your own boss. Link the boss. Actually, or is it? Yes, fine. Just make sure your detector's not called the same as boss as well. Or well, I put boss detector, but if you put boss in the detector, and if you put boss in the puppet, you'll have those two clashing, and we don't want that. So be careful how you name it. We don't need this. We don't need this. You can give it some health, like let's give it 5,000. Alright, let's test it. We don't need to go through the whole that area again. We can simply just save it, Shift T. Oh yeah, since we put minigun here instead of assault rifle, we kinda need to change the chapter as well, so it gives you a minigun. Minigun weapon. Here. Here. Minigun weapon. Here we go. Save. Shift T. And there we have it. We have our boss. Now, how do we play music? Again, it's simple. First, enter here. It should put you around here, or you can type it here, wherever you please. I'm just gonna put it like this. Again, I'm just gonna copy this. Well, fine. Music. Resource. Browse. So let's save it. And it should play the music. Okay. What else can we do? Okay, so if we want our level to end when we kill the boss, so we need to put void event. One killed. We're gonna put world info. And how do I know that? Well, world info is quite a function for our world info that is separated by other functions of the game, of your own world. Now, it should be called end sequence. And let's look for it. The end sequence. The end sequence, C string end game movie. Okay. End game movie. Like that. Let's try it. I'm just gonna for tutorial purposes to leave his health low, so we don't have to spend a lot of time killing him. Control. There we go. It ended. And if you can't close it, like I couldn't with the escape, you press Control Console key. And with that, you pretty much have your level. Another one fun thing we can do. If we Shift T, Control Console key, we can preview our characters, the world. I'm gonna close it like this. This is pretty much it. That's it. We got some basic functions here. And now let's go through this. The models, the static models, that are controlled by scripts, will have functions. Wait event is when you're waiting forever till an event specified is fulfilled. For our case, weapon pickup is picked, so when you pick up the weapon, it will fire off another code. Kamikazes will spawn. And actually, let's just gonna move it like so they don't. Or if you don't want your enemies to collide with barriers, go to Entity, type in filter barrier, version with barriers, pass through barrier, which means it will go through the walls, invisible walls that is. Okay, so here we got a mover playing an animation move, so this one moves up. This one, when all of the kamikazes are killed, this model will appear, and when the health is picked up, and we will have a delay that plays fight music and spawns a bunch of processed. Wait all events, what wait all events does is you put all, when there's multiple entities, in our case 3 entities are linked to this script, all killed, and next the portal will play the particle effect. Detector will recharge, so it knows that it should activate now instead of later. And when the detector is activated, you'll get teleported to another area, till the boss will appear. And this is pretty much it. This is the most basics of what you can create. Again, I will provide you a node file so you can take a look and play around. So for now, in the next part, I'm going to talk how to upload your map to a workshop. So till then, take care.